We're coming into tonight. 9 different road teams had won games. It's now a 10th, and Atlanta, perhaps the most unlikely of all, just given the circumstances that we just laid out. Philadelphia with an opportunity to put this game to bed at the under 2 timeout, throwing it back to Joe and Troy. I said we would take you inside the winning locker room after the game, and it appeared it would be Philadelphia. It is not. It's 3rd and 3. It's there. If Saquon can squeeze that, he's not going to score, but it's 1st down, and that, with Atlanta out of timeouts, would have allowed knees to exhaust the clock. Instead, after the field goal is made, it's surgical. Cousins to Mooney, who had scored a touchdown earlier. That gets them to the 40. Cousins, a clean pocket and time. Mooney again, who slips a tackle. Now approaching inside the 10-yard line, and they had struggled in the red zone to find the end zone. And here, what a route, what a throw, touchdown, Drake London. And the Atlanta Falcons have stunned the crowd and the link. There was an unsportsmanlike, which actually made the extra point to go ahead. A 48-yarder, Younghoe Koo makes that, and then Jesse Bates squeezes this one. That's it, and that's all. The Atlanta Falcons steal this game, but really they earn it with a remarkable drive. And we head up now to the booth. It's Joe and Troy, and gentlemen, as I just was mentioning, that under 2 timeout, right? I throw it back up to you and said it appears that the winning locker room will be the Eagles, and now it's not. And let's just take this through, and I'm interested in both your perspective. The sequence of events. I understand the play call. It almost works. It doesn't, and it opens the door, and Kirk Cousins walks through it. I just hand it to you and ask your reaction to how this last minute and 45 played out.
Well, we all saw it. You know, I mean, if Saquon Barkley is able to make that catch, then it's a brilliant call, and they run out the clock, and they go into the locker room as winners.
You like the call? You like the call, Troy?
Well, it's a risk-reward call, right? Okay. I mean, it's not what I expected. I thought, you know, it was a play in which you get Hurts outside. If it's there, take it. If it's not, you keep it and you go to the ground, let the clock run, and then make your decision. But he was open, and they don't execute it. It's the National Football League, so you're playing to win, you're playing aggressively, you get exactly what you want, and then it's just simply not executed. And obviously there's going to be a lot of talk about that. We're talking about it. They're going to be talking about it in the locker room, at the press conferences after this ball game. But then defensively, they're unable to make a stop. I mean, those were big chunks. They got down there in a hurry, so it was a collapse by a lot of people there at the end for them not to be walking off this field victorious.
Joe, you made the point as you were calling the action there that there was no pressure at all to speak of on Cousins, and these chunk plays happened almost instantly. I wondered, might Atlanta even run the ball, because they had that option given the amount of time that was still left in the time that they got down the field so quickly. I just was wondering, from your vantage point, what looked different about the Eagles front there and their inability to get close to Kirk?
Well, I mean, I think you have to look at, we haven't seen anything yet from Bryce Huff. He's not getting any pressure. He was brought in on a 3-year, $50+ million deal. That hasn't spurned him into getting pressure. That's not working. Cousins had all day back there. So did Hurts. I mean, neither team really had much of a pass rush. Neither team could stop the run when they had to. Philly had at least been good in the red zone, as you said, but then they get down there with an opportunity to make a stop, and they do not. So I think you have to tip your cap to the Atlanta Falcons. I've been doing NFL games for 31 years, and I don't think I've ever been as shocked as fast as I was tonight with the way this game ended. It was all just like a landslide with Philly, and a couple of decisions. They tried to go for it on 4th and 4 early when he and I are looking at each other like, seemed like a chip shot field goal was the call, but they go for it. It's a different time in the league. And then they throw the ball on 3rd down, stops the clock as they don't make the catch, and Kirk Cousins took care of the rest. So you can look at it either way. I think the better way is to credit Kirk Cousins in this offense for the Atlanta Falcons, coming off that brutal game in Week 1, to step up and get a tough win here on the road.
They're telling me I have to wrap, but Troy, I'll give you the last word. Cousins is a guy you can relate to all of it, what he goes through. To have that drive and just your second game after what Week 1 looked like, how do you frame that?
I thought he was outstanding. You know, that's why you get paid the big money, is when the game's on the line. That's when you've got to be able to come through. And I know that throughout his career, he's been criticized for not coming through enough. And for him to do it with a new team, because every time you go into a new locker room, you've got to prove yourself all over again, regardless of whatever you've done in your past. So this was his opportunity to be put in that situation. He came through on the road, a very tough environment to do so. He should be really proud of himself. I'm certain that he is, but this was a big win for him.
As you guys just said, you've been doing this a long time, and it was stunning to watch and stunning to witness as the air just evaporated and escaped this balloon in the blink of an eye. Gentlemen, look forward to next week in the doubleheader and talking then. Travel safely, okay?
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, always a pleasure to visit with them every Monday night here. And as we continue, we take a look at these next 5 weeks, just how critical it was for Atlanta. The next 3 opponents they face have not lost a football game. They get a breather of sorts in theory with a trip to Carolina, who, as we know, is struggling. But now Philadelphia's got to go take on these next 2 games on the road, teams who have not lost this year. Drake